it. Now then, it's time to laugh at our politicians. One of the country's top stand-ups has been entertaining audiences here in the East Midlands and making fun of our political masters at the same time. But with the heyday of political satires like Spitting Image long gone, is there really a role for comedy in politics? Well, we caught up with Andy Zaltzman at the Glee Club in Nottingham.
Now, do you think satirical comedy works? No? There's a man from the BBC Comedy Commissioning Department.
I'm not entirely sure why there isn't more satire on television than there currently is. Perhaps the commissioners have decided that it makes people fall asleep in front of their tellies in a way that televised karaoke or competitive dancing does not. It probably requires a bit more risk-taking from those commissioning the programmes, but there's certainly nothing like Spitting Image or like the shows that Rory Bremner used to do. It's mostly panel shows and you can't really satirise an issue in a great deal of depth in a 30-second joke.
There was an extraordinary story earlier in the year, during the takeover, the attempted takeover of the proudly British pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca by the evil American pharmaceutical company Pfizer, in which we were kind of encouraged to be kind of patriotic about AstraZeneca because it's a great British company, and like many great British things, it was founded in Scandinavia and is now run by a Frenchman. I mean, it does not get more British than that. That is basically the English monarchy in the 11th century. That is what this nation was founded upon.
I think the idea that we have a very apathetic society at the moment is slightly misplaced, in that I think there is a lot of apathy and disengagement from electoral politics, but at the same time, within the last sort of 15 years, we've had most of the biggest public protests in British political history, so and massive online movements and people sort of attaching themselves to, I guess, single-issue protest groups. So I don't think that it's necessarily true that there is political apathy in the broader sense, but I think there certainly is a sense that electoral politics is probably not functioning quite as smoothly as you want your democratic motor to function.
The latest UN IPCC report, of course, described the impacts of global warming as, quote, severe, pervasive and irreversible, which by coincidence are the three words I use in my online dating profile.
There have been disastrous examples of politicians trying to be funny. Some can carry it off. You know, Barack Obama can deliver a joke. Boris Johnson, whether you like him or not, can make people laugh. But at the same time, at the other end of the scale, you have Miliband's and Clegg's who really should steer well clear of any attempt at humour.
Are you happy with the politicians that you've got at the moment? No? Have you got any David Cameron fans in? Have we got any Nick Clegg fans in? Have we got any Ed Miliband fans in? Isn't democracy fun?
Hopefully all politicians at the highest level get an equal whacking with a satirical stick.
So, John, do you mind being the butt of jokes as a politician?
Well, I love it. I mean, one of my ancestors was John Collier, otherwise known as Tim Bobbin, who was the first political satirist, and he lampooned Tory politicians and bishops in the Church of England, and so
it's in your blood.
I'm happy to continue in a family tradition with one of the two of his targets.
But you don't take it personally then, because some politicians might.
I love it. I mean, he used cartoons to ridicule us, or our predecessors. And I think
what era was he, Tim Bobbins?
Oh, we're going back 200-300 years.
Oh wow, really?
But you know, I think we should welcome it. It's if people aren't lampooning us, then we're not doing our job properly.
What do you think?
I mean, I think you need to, you know, not take yourself too seriously, and frankly, if it lives to the profile of politicians, and something that Spitting Image certainly did, you know, characters like Roy Hattersley and Douglas Hurd.
And the grey John Major.
That's right, certainly recognised, you know, throughout the country. When you couldn't say that today, actually, that the Great British public isn't as engaged as they were back then, possibly, because of shows like that.
OK, but Andy Zaltzman was making quite a serious point there too. He's tapping into general disenchantment, really, with politicians. Is that a bigger worry for you guys? I
mean, I think it is, but you know, it's very easy to sit on the outside of politics and snipe and say that all our politicians are useless and they're all looking after themselves. And, I'd say to some of those people, roll your sleeves up and get stuck in and come and have a fight inside the tent, if you like. Get involved in politics, stand as a local councillor, put yourself forward as a member of Parliament.
There was that moment, wasn't there, where he sort of said about all the leaders and there was that silence. Worrying.
Of course it's a concern. I mean, people are... Well, I'm fed up. Politicians who won't say boo to a goose, who are so busy watching their career and over the shoulder to see who's looking at them, getting up the greasy pole, that they'll never ever speak up to.
Here, John?
I'm talking generally about politicians,
not
some
about
of whom
anybody
will
in
be
particular.
booted out at the next election, hopefully. But that is a big problem we have, and people want to see some variety in there, and. It is once called the Palace of Varieties. It's rather staid and monotone at the moment, and it needs more colour.
A bit more colour and a bit more fun, maybe. But also, Andy was saying that people are turning to other ways to get involved. These mass campaigns online and stuff like that. They don't turn to you as politicians.
I think one of the problems is that politics has become a career rather than a vocation. It was something that you did to try and improve your community and make things better. Where it's now become a job, and I think to a certain extent. We get the politicians we deserve because we created this system of a structured expenses system and a salary.
Oh, don't go there.
Well, quite. And I think we've created the job of being a politician, and it should be a vocation.
It's boring in Basset Law, Mary. You want a public meeting with all the cut and thrust, plenty of humour and plenty of tough talking. We have them all the time, and I think if you go out to the community. You put yourself in front on the big issues and let people have their say and have a go back and give as good as you get and tell them what you think. People want it straight. What I find is they'll turn around and say, well, I totally disagree with you, John, but at least you're prepared to tell me what you think.
Yeah,
and I
say
think
how it is.
I think we need more of that. And, strangely, I'm getting vast numbers of people wanting to participate in next year's general election, more than ever before. And the BBC would be welcome to come and film there and see it.
We might take you up on that offer.
I think, if you've got to be able to listen as well at the same time. If you're stuck on transmit, you're not on receive.
All right, over and out.